Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV channel and YouTube channel, VK1WIA National News, Wireless Weather and Radio Sport is next.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Certainly is the national news for week commencing February 6, 2022. And in today's news from the WIA, Trent VK4TS will give us the nitty-gritty on the Australia Day contest just run. Jason looks at this year's World Radio Day, which celebrates the trust, accessibility and long-term viability of the radio industry and is held February 13. Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, tells us that the latest amateur radio magazine began arriving in mailboxes and newsagents February 3. Felix has a report on a unique call sign that, when written down, looks like the word pole, P-O-L-E. Also, on special event calls for two national broadcasters, one here in VK, the other in the mother country. And in the social scene, a couple of buy, sell and swap dates if you're in VK 5 and 6. And from the Radio Amateurs Old Timers Club, Clive gives details on tomorrow's broadcast from the RAOTC.
This is Trent VK4TS reporting on the Trial Australia Day Contest 2022. The Trial Australia Day Contest was considered a success by many participants. We had 78 logs submitted and over 580 different call signs in those logs. In the single operator category, VK2K, Cam VK2DG from Golgol was in first place with 275 points, with a clear margin to the second place of AX2VH on 237 points. The first foundation was VK4BDX, who concentrated on 10 metres for 83 points and an 8th place overall. Congratulations, Brett. In the single operator CW category, AX2GR, operated by Alan VK2GR, edged out VK2PN Patrick with 40 points versus 26 points. We're sure in the years to come that the single operator CW category will have more entrants. And in the single operator mixed category, VK4N Greg, whose VK4BXX was first with 82 points, and coming in second was AX3GK Lee, of course that's VK3GK, with 77 points. In the single operator QRP category, VK3W was Megan VK3AAK on 30 points, and she edged out VK3P Perrin VK3PT with 24 points. It was a great effort for Megan, and well done to you, Perrin, as well. In the multi-operator, multi-transmitter category, a very lonely VL4R was the winner with 213 points. Well done to Bill and Diane. This has been Trent, VK4TS.
This is Editor-in-Chief of Amateur Radio Magazine, Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH. The latest edition of Amateur Radio Magazine began arriving in mailboxes and newsagents from 3rd of February. I have to draw your attention to a change on the cover. Look for it when it lands in your letterbox or when you go into a newsagent. It looks rather different. However, despite the radical change in the appearance of the magazine banner, Amateur Radio remains the magazine that has served Australian radio amateurs since 1933. The theme for this issue is contesting. You will find a 16-page section highlighted with its own section cover and featuring a pull-out contest calendar. The middle pair of pages in the issue, 34 and 35, are the centre sheet of the magazine, which you can easily lift out and post to the notice board in your shack, on the door of your fridge, or elsewhere at hand. Enough of that. What else is in issue number 1? We have a rig review of the Lab 599 TX500 transceiver, a Russian-manufactured HF plus 50 meg rig designed to appeal to the portable operator. Simon Rumble, VK2 Victor Sierra Romeo, VK2VSR, gives us the skinny on this interesting rig. For the do-it-yourself brigade, we have an intriguing article on a digital Duvalaki, described as a Swiss Army knife for engineers. The author, Greg Mew, VK4 Golf Romeo Mike, VK4GRM, sets out how this Duvalaki may be used to add pre-distortion to an RF signal to improve the linearity of a power amplifier. And it can do lots more. So what's a Duvalaki? It's an object or machine that is not understood, or something you can't recall the name of. For the constructors and designer developers, Lou Di Stefano, VK3 Alpha Quebec Zulu, VK3AQZ, continues his closely followed HF antenna tuner project. On the subject of getting your signals out and back, the series on Unravelling the Mysteries of Connecting Radios to Antennas by Dr. Brian Clark, VK2 Golf Charlie Echo, VK2 GCE, continues with Part 4. Jules Perrin, VK3 Juliet Fox Papa, VK3 JFP, continues his Newcomer's Notebook, standalone articles for learner licensees. This issue he covers the power and the glory of Ohm's law and the wonder of components in series and parallel. Plain language explanations without the complex mathematics. Continuing with our recently introduced policy of disclosing the focus of the next issue, we reveal that the topical theme for Issue 2 is Test and Measurement. Amateur Radio Magazine, Volume 90, Issue Number 1 for 2022. Serving Australian radio amateurs since 1933. This has been AR Magazine Editor-in-Chief Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, for VK1WIA News.
Media Watch and our US sister news service, Amateur Radio Newsline, this week has both myself, Graham, VK4BB, and John, VK4JJW, stringing in their news.
The anniversary celebration included the induction of 2 honoured guests.
No, this isn't coming from aliens. John will talk about the Ulu radio movement, the 27th anniversary of the Rainbow Radio League, and in our news, that story is also covered here, along with a report I filed on a radio telescope in West Australia that has been picking up highly polarised signals in a repeating series of pulses. So, no matter where you are in the world, for the best news, tune both Amateur Radio Newsline and WIA National News, heard on repeaters all across VK.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now, international news with Jason, VK2LAW.
This year's World Radio Day celebrates the trust, accessibility and long-term viability of the radio industry. February 13th, 2022 marks the 11th annual celebration of World Radio Day, which is organised by the United Nations UNESCO organisation. This year's theme is Radio and Trust, in recognition of radio's standing as one of the most trusted media sources around. Even as various studies reveal a global decline in trust in the internet and social media networks, people continue to see radio as one of the most trustworthy news sources, the organisation said. Part of the people's trust in radio is due to its low-cost and ubiquitous nature. UNESCO said in a statement about the upcoming World Radio Day, radio is thereby one of the most popular means of communications used by an overwhelming majority of people. Norway's national ham radio body, the NRRL, has announced it is financially supporting the D-Expedition 3 Yankee 0 Juliet to Bouvet Island November 2022. This high-profile DX commission is one of great interest to radio amateurs around the world. The D-Expedition takes place from the Norwegian sub-Antarctic area with a Norwegian call sign. The Executive Board considers it's important that NRRL is a contributor to the fact that radio amateur activities of significant importance and with a Norwegian connection. In news from Region 2, the Amateur Radio Emergency Service ARIS team in Centralia, Washington, activated following an early morning bombing back on December 19th. Authorities say 2 men planted the bomb, which blew up the ATM at a local bank. The Washington State Patrol Bomb Squad and the FBI responded to assist the Centralia Police Department in the investigation. The Centralia ARIS team staged its communications van next to the scene. The 13 ARIS team members who responded to a call for assistance were paired with CPD detectives to assist in the evidence search at the crime scene. ARIS team members have been trained to perform evidence searches for the police department and were able to put those skills to work. Teams of 3 to 5 ARIS members, led by a detective, gloved up and slowly searched an estimated 10,000 square feet around the bank, along nearby railroad tracks and an adjoining field, retrieving as many potential pieces of evidence as they could find. In Canada, the new Westminster Amateur Radio Club is among 250-plus not-for-profit organisations across British Columbia that are receiving community gaming grants to support environmental conservation and public safety programs. According to the new Westminster Amateur Radio Club website, the group was created to promote the hobby of amateur, ham radio and emergency communications. It has now received an $8,000 community gaming grant for emergency radio communications. The pandemic has reminded us how important it is to stay connected to our loved ones and our communities, New Westminster MLA Jennifer White said in a news release. In an emergency, the New Westminster Amateur Radio Club provides additional communication support, and I'm pleased that we're able to aid them with their work. Amateur Radio Digital Communications, ARDC, has continued its funding of a variety of projects throughout individual grants. Among the latest is a $318,000 grant to the Society of Women Engineers, which will fund 30 SWE Global Scholarships and contribute to programs that will help women in engineering excel professionally and showcase their achievements. According to SWE, these programs include the High School Leadership Academy, a virtual year-round program aimed at building self-confidence and resilience among high school students who are interested in pursuing engineering and technology degrees. The Community College Women of Colour Pathways Research, a new year-long program to encourage undergraduate women studying at historically black colleges and universities and Hispanic serving institutions to pursue STEM graduate degrees. And its Collegiate Leadership Institute, a program designed to equip collegiate SWE members with the skills, knowledge and leadership abilities that will enable them to become leaders in engineering and technology. And wrapping up international news from Region 3 in Tonga, the volcanic explosion and subsequent tsunami that knocked out the undersea internet cables disconnecting the region. But Intelsat is providing space-based broadband connectivity on Horizons 3E and Intelsat 18. While partners Telstra and Spark are providing the ground infrastructure, including VSAT hubs at their teleports, uplink, internet access and remote kits. The services provided are now fully provisioned, expanding broadband and voice services. Additionally, says criticalcoms.com.au, Intelsat is providing services in conjunction with Optus to the New Zealand Defence Force, which will provide humanitarian support in Tonga. For VK1WIA National News in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
Now, operational news with Felix, VK4FUQ.
Hello there. Now, contest-wise, 2022. March is the John Memorial Field Day, 19th of March and 20th of March. Harrow Angel Memorial 80-metre sprint, Saturday, May 7th, 2022. 10 hours UTC to 11:46 UTC. The Don Edwards Memorial Slow Moors Contest, 2 days, starting May 14, 1800 hours, concluding May 15, 1600 hours. A Slow Moors Contest to encourage amateurs to give it a go. Saturday evening, 14 May, between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 80 metres. Sunday afternoon, 15th May, between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 40 metres. International CQ Pride Contest, June 4 to 6. DX window. VK90 ABC, an Aussie station celebrating 90 years of the national broadcaster, on air all year. Slavo SP2JMB and his XYL Dorota SP2TO is on the air as 3BHGY from Mauritius until February 25. Be listening on various HF bands and in various modes. Montserrat VP2M. Thy air is QRV as VP2MDX until February 18 on 8 to the 10 metres using CW and SSB. EH5, Spain, special event. Jose will be active with the special call sign EH5AAW from Denia during the 19th Antarctic Activity Week between February 18 to 27. Kuwait, 9K. Members of the Kuwait Amateur Radio Society are QRV as Special Event Station 9K9NLD until February 28 in celebration of Kuwait National Day. Netherlands, PA. PA 75 DXEC on air until August 2, celebrating the 75th anniversary of the first post-World War II list of DXCC members, published in the July 1947 issue of QST. Cape Verde. Oliver will be active as D4CW and D44DX from Santa Maria Village, Sal Island, Cape Verde, between February 19 and March 2nd on 8 of the 10 metres, using CW and SSB. Turks and Caicos. Operators John, AF3K, and Ross, W2TT, who cancelled their operation last year due to COVID, will be active as VP5/AF3K and VP5/W2TT, respectively, from Provinciales Island, NA002, between March 23 and 31st. Activity will include an entry in the CQ Worldwide WPX SSB contest, March 26-27, signing as VP5P. Time, gentlemen, time. A 30-minute once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. German North Pole de-expedition. Operators Martina, DF3TS, and Thomas, DCATM, will activate Svalbard as GW home calls to start their de-expedition between April 9 and 12th. Activity will be on SSB and FT8. Operators will use their special call signs DPOLE. When written out, this call looks like the word pole between April 14 and 17. Activity from the North Pole, 90 degrees north, under DPOLE and DCATM/P, together with Martina DF3TS/P, will take place sometime during this time. The exact schedule will depend very much on weather conditions on 20 metres. 14244 kHz plus or minus. Now note, activity is limited to approximately 30 minutes. Indonesia. 7B2C, 7B2E, 7B2T, 7B2H, and 7B2O are QRV until the end of October to celebrate the Javanese Hindu Situ temple that was built in 1475. Activities on 80, 40, 20, 15 and 10 metres using SSB and FT8. BBC Centenary Special Event GB100 BBC. Members of the BBC's Radio Club will operate throughout the year from the headquarters station in Broadcasting House, London. Hadrian's Wall Special Event Station. There will be two special event stations, GB 1900HA and GB 1900HW, running throughout the year, till December 23, commemorating 1900 years since the building of Hadrian's Wall. The Royal Belgian Amateur Radio Union, 75. On the occasion of this anniversary, the HF Committee have been on the air during January and February. All participating UBA sections will be on the air with the special prefix ON75, followed by the three-letter abbreviation of the department as a club station. Members of the Irish Radio Transmitter Society will be using the special call sign EI90IRTS to mark the 90th anniversary of the founding of Ireland's National Society. Listen for the EI90IRTS call sign throughout 2022. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQNO.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now, special interest group news with Cole, VK3GTV.
Hi everyone, first up it's Worldwide Special Interest Group's Astronomical. Well, we've all heard strange transmissions on the air, but perhaps none as strange as these. WIA News Editor Graham, VK4BB, filed this story for Amateur Radio Newsline this week.
A radio telescope in Western Australia has been picking up highly polarised signals in a repeating series of pulses, suggesting that the bright object which appears to be its source possesses a strong magnetic field. The scientists at the International Centre for Radio Astronomy Research are detecting the radio waves at a rate of 3 times an hour. An astrophysicist at Curtin University believes this might be a magnetar, something that only existed in theory until recently. Researchers have known about the bright object since it was first seen in March of 2018. The more than 4,000 low-frequency antennas of the Murchison Wide Field Array are picking up transmissions which originate some 4,000 light-years away from Earth. Curtin University astrophysicist Natasha Hurley-Walker has stated that no, This isn't coming from aliens.
Thanks, Graham. Worldwide Special Interest Group News, HF Digital Voice. Free DV, that HF Digital Voice mode based on the open source modems and codecs developed by David Rowe, VK1WIA, is under continuous development. To popularise this leading-edge technology, Munir K6AQ has organised a worldwide Free DV Activity Day on February 20th. How can you participate? Easy. Download the Free DV app and news of frequencies from the links provided in the text edition of this news today, best read on wia.org.au. If you've previously used Free DV, you'll need to upgrade to version 1.6.1 or later to take advantage of new modes and features, including the ability to have your station reported by PSK Reporter. The latest download also includes audio files of the various modes and a very comprehensive manual to help you get your station set up. Worldwide Special Interest Group's Final Frontier. NASA will announce later this year the 4 astronauts who will slingshot around the far side of the Moon on the Artemis lunar program's first crew mission, currently scheduled for launch in 2024. The crew is expected to include 3 US flyers and 1 Canadian astronaut. The Artemis 2 mission will follow 2 years after NASA's Artemis 1 test flight, an unpiloted Pathfinder mission scheduled to launch no earlier than March from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Artemis 1 will be the first flight of NASA's Space Launch System, a heavy-lift rocket designed for lunar missions that's been in development for more than a decade. It will also be the first trip by NASA's Orion crew capsule to the Moon, following a demonstration flight that orbited the Earth in 2014. The goal of NASA's Artemis program is to land astronauts on the Moon's surface for the first time since the final Apollo lunar mission in December 1972. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Internet, the HAMS domain. Amateur Radio Digital Communications, ARDC, has approved a grant of $889,405 to the Internet Archive. With this grant, the Internet Archive will build the Digital Library of Amateur Radio and Communications, DLARC, an online open access resource that preserves the vital resources, past, present and future, that document the history of amateur radio and communications. The DLARC will provide a key open access educational resource, free to use for researchers, students and the general public. It will also serve as a permanent archive for the preservation of the history of ARDC, its members, and key individuals and organisations involved in the broader amateur radio movement. Now over to Clive for Radio Amateur Old Timers News.
Hello everyone, this is Clive, VK6 Charlie Sierra Whiskey. On behalf of the Radio Amateurs Old Timers Club of Australia, I wish everyone a happy and healthy 2022 and remind you that tomorrow is the first Monday of the month, time for the RAOTC's first monthly bulletin for this year to go to air. Information that there was to be a temporary cessation of the club's bulletins is wrong. This arose due to producer Bruce VK3UV being unwell, but rest assured that the bulletins will continue as per usual. Apart from some brief club news and information about Bruce's health, this month we tell the story of Captain H.J. Round, a principal assistant to Marconi, who played a vital part in developing the valves and the direction-finding equipment that in 1916 led to the Battle of Jutland and the defeat of the German Navy. Everyone, RAOTC members and non-members alike, is most welcome to listen to the programme and to join in the callbacks afterwards. Full details of all transmission times and modes can be found on the RAOTC website at www.raotc.org.au or just Google RAOTC broadcasts. If none of the transmission times suit you, you can download the audio file at any time from today from the website. Members and friends of the RAOTC in Perth are reminded that the next lunchtime meeting at the Bayswater Hotel is this Tuesday, February the 8th. All are welcome, but do remember that WA public health rules apply. Once again, tune in tomorrow for the February RAOTC Bulletin. Enjoy the programme, and please join in the callbacks afterwards.
Thanks, Clive, and from old-timers to the new kids on the block. It's Worldwide Special Interest Groups, YOTA, Youth on the Air. Japan's JARL reports on the establishment of a new amateur radio advisory board for wireless human resource development. The Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications has decided to hold the Amateur Radio Advisory Board for Wireless Human Resource Development with the aim of obtaining advice and recommendations from experts on the realization of a system and environment related to amateur radio for wireless human resource development. The president of Japan Amateur Radio League, Yoshinori Takeo, JG1KTC, is a member of the new board. The ministry says the aim is to obtain advice and recommendations from experts on the development of an environment suitable for amateur radio in Japan that makes it easier for beginners such as youth who will lead the future to start amateur radio in order to realize a system and environment that makes it easier to utilize amateur radio. The first meeting was held on Wednesday, January 26th. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Rescue Radio. Yulu Radio movement turns 27. January 22nd, 2022 marked the 27th anniversary of the Rainbow Radio League, now the Yulu Radio Movement, YRM, a community service volunteer organisation with a special emphasis on emergency communications and mass casualty management. The organisation was launched from the summit of Mount St Andrews on January 22, 1995, when 5 radio operators announced the start-up of the RRL to the world. On that Sunday morning, right after the announcement was made, there was a shower of rain, after which a perfectly beautiful rainbow adorned the western skies, as if to smile on the ushering in of the country's most active amateur radio organisation. With the easing of global and local COVID restrictions and without letting down its guard, the YRM, as part of its plan to keep its members sharp and focused, will be conducting several POTA, Parks on the Air, and SOTA, Summits on the Air, activities this year, the first one from Fort Charlotte to coincide with its 27th anniversary. The next activity will be a SOTA event from Fort Duvenet. The YRM intends to stage these activities every 2 to 3 months during this year. And that's it for Worldwide Special Interest Groups for this week. I'll catch you next time. Till then, stay safe. I'm Cole, VK3GTV.
Well, here we be, the end of the WIA national news. On the social scene, a couple of new events to tell you of today, so listen up. VK6 Peel Amateur Radio Group Swap Meet, 26th of February, Mandurah Bowling Club, 9 a.m.
The event will be held at the Mandurah Bowling Club. Doors open at 8 a.m. for exhibitors and sellers, of course, and 9 a.m. to 12:30 for buyers. Entry fee is only $5 a person, and we've got some great raffle prizes this year. We're offering prizes of an ICOM IC2300, an SDR receiver, a heavy-duty 30-amp power supply, a TET Mtron multi-band antenna, a vector network analyzer, and other prizes. So put it in your diary and plan to head on down to the Mandurah Bowling Club. And like everything, there's always a risk of COVID affecting the event, so check the Peel Amateur Radio Group website, www.parg.org.au, before the event. So once again, Saturday the 26th of February at the Mandurah Bowling Club, 89 Allnut Street in Mandurah, Western Australia. We look forward to meeting you on the day. This is Mark, VK6QI, on behalf of the Peel Amateur Radio Group.
In VK4, it's Redfest, Saturday the 9th of April. In VK5, another buy, sell or swap event.
Hi all, this is Nathan, VK5 DAD from the South Coast Amateur Radio Club. On Sunday the 24th of April 2022, we have our annual buy and sell at our club room, so please keep the date free. Don't forget, we have a fully operational HF club station under VK5 ARC. We meet every Thursday night from 7 p.m. at Seaford Meadows Scout Hall, except when there is a 5-week month, our club goes out for a social dinner with our families. So please pop on down and say good day. We'd love to put a face to the voice we hear on the radio. 73s from all at the South Coast Amateur Radio Club.
Thanks for that, and we'll get back to you next week so you can tell us all about the great repeaters your team at the South Coast Amateur Radio Club have. And still in VK5, Australian Fox Hunting Championship and the SERG Convention, Mount Gambier, the Queen's Birthday weekend in June in VK5. Now, till next we meet, I'm Graham, VK4BB. walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK1WIA's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.